And here we go with round number 2 of going live. I'm still working on getting the technical glitches out here. We're going to test with a both combination of Whiteboard Wednesday and a Find My Catalyst podcast, a live version of the Find My Catalyst podcast. Today, we're going to focus on what is your purpose? What is your, excuse me. This is why you shouldn't do stuff live, or at least you add in editing. Last week, we talked about what is your purpose. Today, it's about who do we serve? Who do we serve? How do we identify our ideal customer profile? And ideal customer profile is a lot different than buyer personas. Buyer personas are fictional beings. Fictional beings have manufactured problems. Ideal customers are real people. They have real problems. The cool thing about real people with real problems is you can help them solve real problems. When you deal with manufactured problems, fictionalized people, avatars, you can drop any kind of solution to help them solve and write a story the way that you want it rather than really deeply engage directly with the story of others. So we're going to talk about ICP. What are some distinct declarative statements around the people that you serve? As you know, recently Jen and I announced our involvement in the Phoenix Club and the relaunch of the Phoenix Club. And number one thing that we're looking for are people who rise together. Number one, rise together, meaning they know that their growth is primarily a function of the number of people that they serve, the number of people that they help get to where they want them to go. So number one, rise together. Number two, continuous learning. Continuous learning. So they're a continuous learner. They rise together. Number one, rise together. Number two, they are a continuous learner. So they're open to coaching. They're open to developing. They're open to taking a beginner's mind approach to addressing some of the challenges, problems that they're working to solve for. Number three, so rise together. We're going to learn and we're going to grow together. Continuous learning. We're going to build from the beginning. We're going to build with a beginner's mind. Number three, they're stuck. They've trouble finding the right fit with the right group. Maybe they've worked with a couple of different communities, so they might be part of other communities. Those communities are very specific to the vertical they're in. It might be a community only of travel agents, or it might be a community only of revenue professionals, or it might be a community only of marketing professionals. So they are committed to community, but they still feel like they're not getting where they want to go. So they're open to being involved in a very diverse community. So committed to community, and they want to continue to grow. Continue to grow. All right. So we've got 4 declarative statements. They rise together, continuous learner, coachable, committed beginner's mind, committed to community, working together in a community environment, and they want to continue to grow. So we take these things and we order them in priority. Number one, what do they want to do? Well, let's say they want to grow. So they're not happy with where they are. So let's make this the first one. If you're okay with where you are from a growth perspective, then maybe this isn't for you. If you are looking to grow, maybe this is for you. So one, so they're over on this side. Then I'm drawing a perpendicular line to the first horizontal line. This starts to look like the logo in the Catalyst Axe logo. It used to be part of the Catalyst Sale logo. For those who are familiar with territory planning, this is that same diagram, that same exercise. And you'll see this in the video if you look at the Whiteboard Wednesday version of this on YouTube, or the live version of this on YouTube. Number one, want to grow. Number two, they know the importance of growing together. So growing together. So they would be up on the top part of this horizontal line. So the vertical line, they're over to the right. The horizontal line, they're up toward the top. We're going to run another perpendicular line on that horizontal. And that is going to be our third one, or second one, which is, third one on here, which is continuous learner. So they are a continuous learner. And the last piece, they are committed to community. So they fall right into this category. They 1, 2, 3, 4. Want to continue to grow? Yes. Are interested in rising together? Yes. Are focused on continuous learning? Yes. Are committed to community, meaning they've been a part of communities in the past? Yes. So that is the structure that we could use around who do we serve from an ideal customer profile, specifically when we talk about the Phoenix Club. So how does this apply to the whole purpose thing that we talked about last week? I shared my purpose. My purpose is to be a catalyst of change for others, for other people, individuals, for teams, and for organizations. The catalyst of change for others. How do I do that? I do that through the combination of thinking, frameworks, tools, process, and design. I engage with others, draw information out, figure out current state versus desired state, and then help build a plan to help you get there, simplifying it so that we can identify for next logical steps. So my purpose, catalyst for change. Who do I serve? People who are struggling with that kind of stuff. The people who struggle with getting to where they want to go, growing at the level that they want to grow at, and lack systems and processes, lack clarity, lack focus to be able to do so. We can create that focus through lines of clarity like this and through some of the other stuff that we can do on a whiteboard. So purpose, catalyst for change. Who do I serve? People who meet this criteria from a Phoenix Club perspective, and some of the other stuff that I'd shared earlier from an organization perspective. When we're focused on the catalyst sales side of things, so the revenue side of things, it's typically organizations who are dealing with emerging technology, developing emerging technology, AI, ML, AR, VR, cybersecurity, digital twins, edge computing, emerging tech applied to helping humans do better human things. So enablement tech, emerging tech plus enablement tech. You find technical founders in that space who have an appreciation for systems and processes, but they've not seen that applied to the revenue side of the challenge. So that's where I get in as a fractional revenue leader or helping train and coach people inside our organizations to get better at generating revenue, executing on the revenue side. Let's talk about you. You went through the process of identifying your purpose. You've identified your purpose. Now, what you've got to figure out is what are the specific problems that you solve for relative to that purpose. The catalyst for change. Once you understand those problems that you solve for, then the next big question is who actually has those problems, who is impacted by those problems, and who cares about the people who have or are impacted by those problems. If you paid attention to the hexagon, remember we have what problem do we solve for? And then on this side, who has, who's impacted, and who cares. Who's has, impacted, who cares. Once you've identified that, then you've earned the right to move over to why. Why does it persist? Why is it important to solve? What's the business impact? That gets into the hexagon. This is where those tools come together. So who do we serve? We serve the people who have this specific problem, who are impacted by this specific problem, or care about those who have or are impacted by the problem. Why is it important to have all three? If we have all three perspectives, then we can learn a bit more about our customers and we can get ourselves into a position where we can help solve. We can also solve in context. We can also get ourselves into a position where we might be able to help them support identifying budget sources to be able to fund solving for this specific problem. Sometimes the people who have the problem don't have any money. Think about selling into HR or learning and development. These are two areas that I've historically worked with when selling products like Skillsoft or SmartForce or O'Reilly or any of these emerging tech products like MIT Horizons. When we're going in there, we're going to people who don't necessarily have the resources to support bringing on new technology into their organization. They have the problem. What they need to do is find out who else is impacted by the problem. Who in the is it customers? If it's customers that are impacted by the problem, maybe sales can help fund it. Is it the engineering team that's impacted by the problem, which ultimately impacts product, which ultimately impacts customers? Maybe we can find some other funding resources from those who are impacted by the problem, or at a leadership perspective, customer perspective, who are the people who care about the people who have or are impacted by the problem? This who do you serve is all around the question who, and there are three distinct who's that we want to look at. Who has the problem, who's impacted by the problem, and who cares about the people who have or are impacted by the problem. One of the cool things when you get into things like B2C, individual consumers, sometimes the people who have the problem, impacted by the problem, and care end up being the same person. I'm hungry. I want to get a hamburger. I decide to go to the best restaurant in the entire world. I go to In-N-Out Burger. I have the problem. I'm impacted by the problem. I care about the problem. I can go through and solve that pretty quickly for myself. Now, different situation. Let's say I'm in the car. I'm in the car with kids. Everybody in the family is hungry. Maybe some people don't like In-N-Out. Well, they're not part of my family. My family loves In-N-Out Burger. So they have the problem. Everybody in the car is impacted by the problem. The kids have the problem. People in the car are impacted by the problem. The family who's driving the car, parents, should care about the people who have or are impacted by the problem. Then we can go through and figure out, okay, this is where we have a funding source. And the funding source in that case, when the parents are buying In-N-Out Burger, is the parents. Same thing happens in a B2B space. Let's say we're going to deliver a set of enablement technology, sales enablement technology, HubSpot, Salesforce, Gong, whatever the technology is that you're delivering. Well, what problem is it solving for? It's solving for productivity. It's solving for speed of sales cycles. It's solving for increased probability of sale. It's solving for data that we're capturing. It's solving for efficiency. It could be solving for a number of different problems. That's why we've got to define the specific problem that we're looking to solve for. Once you have the specific problem defined and it's deconstructed, then you get into the who. If you know who has it, who's impacted by it, who cares about it, you can find a funding source and support. If for whatever reason you've identified a problem, because you've got and you have a solution, you've got this hammer, you're just looking for the nail. You're looking for the nail, but you can't find people who have it or impacted or care about it. You're solving for the wrong problem. Or maybe you're solving for the right problem, but people don't care enough about it. So you're going to starve trying to solve for that problem. What is our purpose? First, what problems do we solve? Second, who do we serve? Third, then we can start to move into things like why and how, and work our way through it. We're going to continue this exercise. The first part of the year is all focused on self. Who do we serve? What problems do we solve? Now, who has it? Now we're starting to shift and get an understanding of how do we become really deliberate inside our businesses, inside our operating environment, as we focus on who we serve. This is really tough stuff because, and it's been said by a number of different people, I don't even know who to attribute this quote to, but if you are solving for everybody, if you serve everybody, ultimately you serve no one. Some people just don't want to get better at the things that they're working on. If that's the case, they don't need a catalyst for change. I'm not for them. Some people want to go and do it alone. They don't find value in community. They don't find value in contributing to others. If that's the case, Phoenix Club is not for them. We want to bring people in who are interested in contributing to others, know that we rise together. And that's the background of the Phoenix Club. It is not about the area in Arizona that we live. You do not have to be part of Phoenix, the Phoenix metropolitan area, to be part of the club. It'd be great to have you, because then we can do some of the local in-person events here. We've got an in-person event coming up in Orlando in April. If you want to rise together, if you are looking for a community, please check out the Phoenix Club. You might find some interesting stuff there. You'll probably see a couple of familiar faces. And I think the coolest part about the club is the diversity of people that we have in there, the diversity of experience. We have got people who are involved in parks. We have people who are involved in travel. We have people who are involved in entrepreneurship, solopreneurship, coaching, speaking, leadership inside businesses. What is your purpose? Who do you serve? Who has the problem? Who's impacted by the problem? Who cares about the problem? Now, here's the other thing that's pretty cool about identifying the people you serve. Once you identify the people you serve, then you can start to branch out and see what additional problems do they have. This is where partnerships can come in. If I'm primarily focused on learning and HR tech, and my focus is on content, well, maybe there's a way to help the learning and HR tech professionals solve for problems related to instructional design or solve for problems related to content creation if I'm bringing just canned content into the situation. The cool thing about being very focused on that who do you serve piece is when you start to identify other problems, you can become a problem solver by introducing them to other people who solve for problems that exist or persist within the same group. I would love to know what you think about this combination of Whiteboard Wednesday and the podcast. Do you lose much if you're just trying to listen to it? I'm trying to describe each of the things I'm putting up on the board as we're going through. If you do lose something, please take a look at the video. I'll have the video on the YouTube channel here immediately. If you know of somebody who would gain value from this discussion, please share it with them. Let me know via LinkedIn, Twitter, comment on the YouTube channel. All of those things help the algorithm push the content up and surface it up to people who are looking for it. If you are looking for someone to facilitate a discussion inside your organization to help you create clarity around your leadership team or your small group team inside your organization, please reach out to me. You can reach out to me at hello@catalystsale.com or hello@findmycatalyst.com, depending on how you're engaging with us. Reach out to us directly. Sales is a thinking process. Business is a thinking process. Life is a thinking process. How are you thinking differently about your process? Thank you.